Hey world, I'm Gazz Cavalera. This is my game room tour. Please step in and have a look. Hey guys, welcome inside. As you can see behind me door, I have Macho Man Randy Savage. Macho Man Savage is my hero when I was a child. I loved the guy. Unfortunately he died in 2011, about 7-8 years ago. But I'll always keep me posted up for him. Behind me door and on top of me door I have all my amiibo. All my boxed amiibo anyway. I only collected a handful of certain ones. That'll be Mr. Game & Watch, Shulk, a Little Mac, and then Duck Hunt Duo at the top. I picked the rest up because they were cheap in shops. Most of them between £5 and £10 each. I weren't spending too much on them. I've kept most of my amiibo boxed because they're quite cool and they're going to be collectible in the future. I'm going to go around the room clockwise. Probably the easiest way to do it. I'm going to do this first shelf unit first and the stuff on top. At the very top I have the WWE Retro Classic Mattel figures. I'm a big fan of wrestling. I'm a massive fan of the old Hasbro figures, which I'll show you in a little bit. Right then, first shelf unit, top shelf. On here I have Alien figures. Monster in my pockets, Disney Infinity. I've got some NASCARs because I'm a Jimmy Johnson fan. Also some Jurassic Park toys, Visionaries, and random other toys here and there. Second shelf, I have my Ewok Village, which isn't actually an Ewok Village, it's actually Sherwood Forest from the Robin Hood Prince of Thieves toy line. It's the exact same playset, except the Ewok Village had green on it rather than the grey. But hey ho, I found in a charity shop it cost me £2.99. Over the years I've bought and found loads of Ewoks. I buy any Ewok I find in any shops anywhere. So the Ewoks are literally on here as the evil little murder bears that they are. I've got a bunch of other figures from other Star Wars films, including the Tauntauns. And then all the bad guys on the other side. Darth Vader, the Emperor, and an AT-ST as well. All picked up in charity shops, all second hand, all peanuts. I paid very little for the lot, probably paid about £25 for all that. It's a really nice collection. Next shelf down. On my next shelf, this is all my WWF Hasbro figures. There's some WCW Galoobas in here. Also an LJN WWF figure. But most of the collections here, I'm only missing a handful of people. That's literally the mail-aways and the green card figures. I've got a bottom shelf which has got nothing really much on it. It's just stuff that I'm keeping, which has got nowhere to go at the moment. A bunch of Hasbro figures which need homes. If anybody is actually after any of these Hasbro figures, I'm very willing for a trade. So long as you've got something I need. Any old video games, or even other Hasbro figures or Galoob figures that I don't have. So if you found anything, put a message down below. There's a couple of LCD games here as well. WWF Superstars, WCW, Star Trek. That's the bottom shelf. Okay, this is my bottom shelf. First thing I have is the boxed Retro Classic ring, which is actually quite hard to get hold of here in the UK at the moment. So I picked that up, got it for like £25, wasn't too bad of a deal. At the very bottom I have what is mostly Jakks and the Mattel line, which are all classic characters. There's nothing in there that's modern, apart from maybe CM Punk. Everything else is old, like the Warrior, Rick Rude, Harley Race, Superstar Billy Graham, Jesse Ventura. It's all the old wrestlers, because I prefer 80s and early 90s wrestling. It's so much better. Anyway, next shelf up. Like on the sides of the shelves, you'll see I've got plenty of little bits and pieces of memorabilia, toys, whatever. And that I can pick up of games or toys I try and pick up, so long as it's cool. But the first of my Star Wars shelves, now don't get too alarmed, there are Star Trek figures on it. It's cool. This has got all my Star Wars games, ranging from Xbox 360, GameCube, PlayStation 2, original Xbox, Atari 2600, everything. Even a box Super Nintendo, Empire Strikes Back. This is basically just all Star Wars stuff on here now. It's mostly new stuff, it's all boxed. On the next shelf up, more modern Star Wars stuff. Most of the stuff here has been given to me as presents over the last few years. Obviously it's mostly Disney made stuff. But these die-cast spaceships are pretty cool, I quite like them. So I'm going to keep them and keep them boxed. Further up we have a bunch of Darth Vader money boxes. They're all pretty cool. I love me Darth Vader. I love Darth Vader, I love the money boxes. And at the end we have the Darth Maul money box. On the top shelf now is the start of me Halo toys and me Halo figure collection. Now the first things here are Mega Bloks, the magnetic guys. They're pretty cool. I picked them up in a car boot sale. £1 each I paid for them. They came in a box as well, which was pretty cool. It was a good buy. Next to them we have, I know he's not Halo, but the Arachnid from Starship Troopers. I love that thing. I love the film. It's fantastic. And then a bunch of Mega Bloks Halo figures and cars. All of them there were second hand. I bought them in car boot sales. I paid about £4 for the lot, which for the vehicles is pretty good. And then you got Big Daddy at the back. Such an iconic video game character. Absolutely fantastic. At the top here we have the ODST drop pod. It has the rookie character in it. That's pretty cool. I've kept that box. It was a present off my mother one year for Christmas, so it's gonna stay in its box. It's massive, like, but hey, it's pretty fucking cool. At the top I've got some Mega Bloks. I love the Halo Mega Bloks collection. I'd love to be able to get it all, but it's so expensive and so hard to get hold of now. Some of the older collections are just not out there anymore. I want the elephant, because the elephant was massive. It was fucking cool. Okay, then next shelves from the top. There's a bunch of Star Wars gubbin. I want to put these lights up at some point. The Death Star and the Millennium Falcon. The Death Star's probably going to go in the living room. The Falcon stay in my game room on the wall somewhere. In front of it we have some treasure trolls. I found them in a charity shop. $1.99 each they cost me. It was a lovely little find. Now when I was a kid I did actually have treasure trolls. And to find these in a shop, look at the condition that's in. That's a box, that. Brand new condition. They're from the late 90s. I think it's 97 or 1998. That was a lovely find. If anyone's actually interested in them, again, I'll swap them for some video games, because they are worthwhile. The next shelf down is my Joyride Halo figures. Now there's quite a few of them here. I bought these when they originally came out. I haven't really bought any of them since. I bought all the variations of these Spartans. As you can see, they've all got weapons, they're all stood there in a good stance. And then you got the Arbiter, who's about to slay a lot of them, because the Arbiter's awesome. And another elite with the jetpack on it and the space costume. I wish I had more of them. There's quite a few more to get. I'm going to start trying to pick them up soon, because the shelf needs more of them. On the next shelf down is a bunch of die-cast Star Wars figures. I've got the Darth Vader, Snoke, the Boba Fett in the white costume, Kylo Ren and Rey. Also a Lego Y-Wing fighter. And then this Aliens box set that my little brother gave me for Christmas one year. It's pretty cool. I do want to take it out of the box because it's actually pretty cool. Really, really cool to stand up, but I'm going to keep it in its box because I think it's going to keep itself happy in there. On the next shelf down is my Transformers stuff. Now when I was a kid, me and my brother, we had loads of Transformers. Absolutely loved the show. My brother mostly had them. He had most of the collection. We didn't really miss out on any. The only one we missed out on that I really remember was Swoop, which later on I bought that. I bought and boxed. And I love the Dinobots, so I've been picking the Dinobots up. I only need Slag. I've got Snarl, Sludge, Grimlock and Swoop now, so I just need Slag. The only Transformer I desperately need that's not one of the Dinobots is Hot Rod. I don't mind if it's Hot Rod or Rodimus Prime, but I want him because I loved Hot Rods. The next shelf down, the bottom shelf, is mostly just like Mario and Sonic, Donkey Kong figures. No stuff from video games. Also some random old trinkets that I've got, like an old badge from like 1991 or something like that. Old coins, old figures. Some Mega Man figures at the front as well. I really like the Sonic the Werehog figure that I've got. He's pretty cool. He's really hard to get hold of in this country, to be honest. I haven't really seen him anywhere. Now we have my TVs and my setup. Behind my TVs I've got all my plush toys. Also this Amiibo little stand. The only open Amiibo I have on it. Which, if you collect Amiibo, remember these Skylanders are actually Amiibo. So later on they might be pretty worth having hold of. I've got me Lego General Grievous. He is really, really cool. I love the Great General. And my collection of plush toys, there's all kinds in here. Most of it's video games. There's Muppets, South Park characters, Disney characters, and plenty of Pokemon. Now this Pokemon here, his name's Bidoof, but for some random reason he doesn't say Bidoof, he says Bibarel, which is actually his evolution. So he's quite rare to get hold of and sells for a pretty little penny on eBay. I found him at a charity shop for $2.99. I actually went back and gave that charity shop an extra couple pounds for him in the end because I didn't realise he was actually worth money when I bought him. Well, here we have the TV setup that I use. I have an old tube TV, which I tend to use this when I'm playing games for like the Super Nintendo, anything old style, because you know you get your better picture for it. I also have an LCD flat as well, which obviously more modern. My Switch is hooked up to that and my Super Nintendo is hooked up to the tube TV. On my stand I have plenty of consoles. The consoles that I tend to use the most: the Mega Drive, Super Nintendo, PlayStation 2, my Nintendo Wii U, my original Xbox, and then a video recorder. Now, the video recorder is essential when you're recording old consoles like the Atari 2600, because obviously that thing doesn't go into the AV. You have to go into the aerial of your video recorder and out of the AV into your computer to actually record, which becomes quite challenging. And then behind here we have the rest of me stuff. Basically loads more plush toys, DVDs, my Millennium Falcon. The Millennium Falcon, I bought this in a car boot sale. I paid £20 or £25 for it. I've got the box for it, it's on a shelf. I'll show you that later on. And then more Lego Star Wars figures. And here we have these units. So if you're a game collector and you play your games, these are essential. They're absolutely brilliant. Inside them I keep my spare controllers, spare wires, anything. I try and keep them console based, Super Nintendo, Atari, everything. If you're a collector of games and anything like that as well, these are essential. Try not to drop it. Now these are just amiibo cases, obviously for amiibo, but I use them to hold all my handheld games in. They're a really, really good idea. It keeps them somewhere and stops them from going missing. Like that's got all my Game Boy Advance games in. Plenty of the fucking things. And that one's got all my original Game Boy games in as well. So if you need somewhere to put your Game Boy games, I would suggest these things because they're pretty cool and they're obviously Nintendo official. Okay then, continuing on around the room, I have the top of the shelf which has my boxed Nintendo Super Scope, which is virtually brand new in there. It doesn't even look like it's ever been played. I paid £20 for that off a lad I used to know. It's a really good buy. The box for me PlayStation 2, which is the one that's under the TV, I paid £8 for that in a car boot sale, a box PlayStation 2, about 4 years ago. Really good buy. Moving down, my Sega Saturn. Now my girlfriend bought this for me for Christmas a few years ago. Now I've got the box, but the Saturn itself is in beautiful condition. There's not a mark on it. It doesn't look like it was ever really used. And I've got the steering wheel for it, which came with Daytona USA when I bought that, and a bunch of games. I don't have loads of games for the Sega Saturn. I'm very, very new to the console. I've never owned one before this, so I'm happy picking them up. The best game I've got is probably Resident Evil. Probably Resident Evil. It's a decent copy of the game. The next shelf down, it is my Nintendo 64 shelf. Now, everyone knows I'm a massive Nintendo fanboy, so I had to get the variation with the Pikachu on it, which I got the controller for that. I bought that, I paid like £45 for that about 4 or 5 years ago. It was a happy little buy. And then a regular Nintendo 64. For some reason, this controller has got a red back on it. Now, I don't know if that's actually a variant or if somebody's actually rebuilt the controller. I've got no knowledge of a controller existing like that. So if anyone knows any information, put the information down below, please. On the same shelf, I've got the Game Boy Hunter, which it's a third-party device. In fact, it's not even licensed by Nintendo in any way, but they're quite hard to get hold of now. My friend Daniel, who used to go to car boot sales with, he gave me that one for free. So it's a very happy little thing in my collection. And then my Turok 2 Rumble Pack, still boxed. I love that, it's brilliant. Going down the shelves is the Sega Mega Drive shelf. Got the Sega Mega Drive 1 with a power base converter on it, and the Sega Mega Drive 2, and then a bunch of controllers. One of them being the Power Stick, and then obviously the Sonic Money Box. That's pretty cool. Continuing down, this is like the beginning of me Nintendo NES and SNES collection here. It's the NES Classic and the SNES Classic, and then the Nintendo Zapper for the NES, and these zipper controllers, which I love these. If you've got a original Nintendo, these are the best third-party controllers in my books. They're not exactly cheap though, they're quite expensive to get hold of, but they have turbo buttons on them, so they're worth picking up. There's a couple of different colours that I don't have. I think there's a grey one and a white one, so I'm aiming to buy them. Further down, I've got my NES and my Rob the Robot. I was after a Rob the Robot for many, many years. I always wanted to play on him. I know he's not the greatest of Game Buddies, but you know what? He's cool, and you need to own one if you're a collector. I bought him from France a few years ago. He cost me like £115. He's fully complete. I've got the game Gyromite to go with him. He makes a hell of a noise when he's going though. And the bottom shelf here is the PlayStation and a cat. Move you. Yeah, my PlayStation with a couple of controllers and the multi-tap for it. Okay then, going on to this next wall. At the very top, I've got most of my GameCubes, which I've picked these up over the years. Usually in car boot sales, I never pay anything more than £5 for a GameCube. If they come with controllers, I'll pay an extra bit more. Got the orange one at the top, which is really cool. It's from Japan. My mate Scott went to Japan a few years ago, brought me some stuff back, and that was in it. It's a lovely, lovely console. It stands at the very top. Moving a bit along, I've got a box for the Mega CD2, which I don't actually have a Mega CD2. My Mega CD2 from when I was a kid died. It got binned, and then years later I found the Mega CD box in storage in our attic. Brilliant. So I just need a Mega CD2 now to complete that. A Master System converter, the power base converter. I bought that in a car boot sale for £4, boxed. Yeah, absolutely fantastic buy. And then a box for my Nintendo 64, which you've already seen. The Xbox One, and then a couple of little things like me handheld colour Pac-Man game. And then this is really cool. That's a stress ball for Luigi's Mansion 2. It was a pre-order item. I try and get pre-order items if I can, because they always become really collectible and they're really cool to keep in your collection. Going down the shelves, the very top here is my GameCube stuff. Now you can probably see I got the Metroid Prime GameCube. That is absolutely cool. You don't see many of them. I've got a box Wavebird and a bunch of controllers. A nice variation of colours and this hoary one at the end. And all my best GameCube games are on this first row here. Double Dash, a game that you have to own if you've got a GameCube. It's a fantastic Mario Kart game. Final Fantasy, Metal Gear, you know, Metroid Prime, Smash Bros, Doshin the Giant, WarioWare, and the Pikmin games. Absolutely awesome collection of games. The GameCube's so underrated. Going down the shelf, you have my Wii collection, which obviously this is all just controllers here. You got the Zapper, a bunch of Wii Motes, the Pro Controller, Nunchuck, the Golden Knight Special Edition, and then Mario Kart with its steering wheel. Moving further down from there, you got the Sega Dreamcast collection, which my Dreamcast unfortunately stopped working. I need a new Dreamcast, but it's still a beautiful console to sit there. I've got the gun for it. The controller itself is so weird. At the time, it seemed so revolutionary. Nowadays, it's really old and tacky. And the VMUs, they're fantastic little devices then. It was a great idea. Unfortunately, the batteries never lasted long enough, but there's a bunch of good games, and I've got a handful of really good ones. Dino Crisis, Resident Evil 3 is a really good game. Choo Choo Rocket's one of my favourite games of all time. And then House of the Dead. If you've got one of these, House of the Dead and the gun, it's so much fun. So much fun. Moving further down from there, Super Nintendo. Super Nintendo is my favourite console of all time. It really, really is. Now, I always wanted to own an American SNES. I know it's an ugly ass bastard thing, but I needed one. It looks good on the shelf. It's a bit yellowed, mine, but hey, it looks like it's had a life. I bought that second hand not so long ago. I've got the PAL version with the Super Wildcard attachment on top. Which, if you remember the Super Wildcard attachment, or if you never even heard of it, you could put floppy disks in the side of it and copy the game. Basically, you copied the ROM onto a floppy disk, which made collecting so much fun. the Super Multi-Tap, and then the controllers to go with each console, the NTSC and the PAL controllers. Going down from there, the Sega Master System collection. Master System 1, Master System 2. With the Life Phaser, and then the controllers. The control stick was... It's really awkward, the control stick, because it's on the right hand side, the joystick, and the buttons are on the left hand side. It's the complete opposite from how we play games these days. But it was the original way in which arcade machines were designed. And it was only flipped in the mid-80s to be the opposite way around. And then the bottom shelf here is the Sony PlayStation shelf. The pink PlayStation 2, which I actually picked that up quite cheap. It was a really, really good bargain. I think I paid like £18 for it. It came with the controllers and the memory cards. And I've got my favourite games for the PlayStation 2 on that side there. Shadow of the Colossus, great game. Silent Hill 4, Silent Hill 2. Curry Curry Mix, I love that game. I made a video about that not so long ago. And then some Resident Evil games and Street Fighter Alpha. Okay then, moving along. The continuation of my GameCube collection, which I've got quite a few GameCube games. As I said, I've named some of these here. Luigi's Mansion, and then a lot of the games that are they're still worth owning. Every game's worth owning for the GameCube, but there are some good games here. I love Smuggler's Run. It's a fantastic little fun game. And then you got games like Wave Race. Wave Race is a good game on the GameCube. Very good game. On the next shelf down is my Wii console and a bunch of Wii games. Donkey Kong Country Returns. It's a fantastic game. It's a really good game. If you've never played it, it's worth picking up a Wii in this game. And a couple more fantastic games. Metroid Prime, Mad World, A Boy and His Blob. This game, A Boy and His Blob, this is a fantastic version of the game. Again, it's a must-own for the console. A must-own. And then, you know, obviously loads of good games. Resident Evil 4, Mario Galaxy 1 and 2, Paper Mario, Smash Bros. Brawl, House of the Dead games. I've got a Zapper. If you've got a Zapper, the House of the Dead games, you've got to pick them up. You'll have so much fun. They're good 2-player games. Moving down from there. Now these are basically just me boxes for me DS, me Game Boy and my Game Boy Advance games. And I don't have that many boxes for the amount of games that I actually own. But things like this Kid Icarus box, it's a fantastic display box. And I love these NES classic games. This is the Ice Climbers. Now I've got Bomberman, Pac-Man and the Mario Bro. Fantastic games to own. And also I've got the boxes for these Donkey Kong Country Advance games. On the Nintendo DS and 3DS, there's some fantastic games. There's games like Children of Mana, which is a fantastic game. Worth picking up if you've got one. It's not even an expensive game. And then there's other games like, yeah, Super Princess Peach. The game is really good. It's getting quite pricey now though, so if you find it quite cheap, grab it. It's well worth it for your collection. Yoshi's Island DS, fantastic. And then one of my favourite games of all time, Mr. Driller, Drill Spirits. That's a fantastic game. So much fun. In fact, I actually broke at a Nintendo DS playing this game because I got so angry I threw it across the room. That's how good that game is. It made me so angry. Everything makes me angry. Anyway, going down from there is basically all of me PlayStation 1 games. Now, I don't have a large PlayStation 1 collection because I'm not the biggest fan of PlayStation 1, but I do have some really good games for it. I've got, starting up here, Resident Evil 3, Oddworld. I've actually got Abe's Exodus as well, which is a good game. It's downstairs with my other PlayStation 1. The Final Fantasy games, Metal Gear Solid, Spyro Dragon, all the Crash Bandicoot games, fantastic. And also Time Crisis. If you like rail shooter games, Time Crisis is a must-have for the PlayStation. It's a must-have. It's a lovely game, and it has held up quite well, I think. Okay, on this bottom shelf here is my PlayStation 2 collection. Now, my best games are on the left, but in this collection here I've got some really good stuff. Devil May Cry series, they're good games. Drakengard, good little RPG. God of War, you know, the Final Fantasy games, Metal Gear Solid, they're some of the best games. Some people really rave about them. Zone of the Enders, massively underrated game. And then games like Jak and Daxter and that Cyvaria. I think that's how it's said anyway. I've never heard anybody else pronounce it any other way. Also, the Kingdom Hearts games are fantastic as well. And any games like these, this and Atari Anthology, any games like these, like the Midway ones or the Namco Classics, you pick these up because they're always full of fantastic olden games which play so well on modern consoles. Okay then, starting up here on the chimney breast, I've got all the big boxes for my Wii U games. You know, Mario Kart 8, which has the little statue inside, Smash Bros. Wii U, Xenoblade, Star Fox Zero, Splatoon, Mario Maker, Animal Crossing, Yoshi's Woolly World, and then the Bayonetta. There's a couple of boxes I still need to get. Moving along, we've got the box for me Super Advantage for me the Super Nintendo, which is awesome. The pink box for the PS2, which you saw before. Box for me Xbox 360, and then a Retron 5 and a Wii U controller. Also these cool little worms, these are awesome, these guys. It falls off all the time now. I think he's drunk. Moving down from here is my NES collection. Now, obviously everyone knows, big fanboy of Nintendo. Now, all my favourite games for these consoles you'll notice they stick out a bit. So I've got some fantastic games for the NES. Now, a lot of people hate on A Nightmare on Elm Street, but I actually think it's a fantastic little game. Once you understand how it works, it's really good. I've got Bucky O'Hare, which was a steal at the price I got it for. I paid £26 for that. That was fantastic. I was lucky to get it in that bid. Probably the most obscure, hard, rare game I've got is Chubby Cherub, which is starting to creep up now in price. It's quite rare. It's a good game though. It's a very good game. Couple of good games: Darkwing Duck, Castlevania 3, DuckTales 2, Final Fantasy, Friday 13th. This game is massively underrated. The people don't understand about the camera on it when you're looking at the map. If you imagine yourself being on a rail as the cameraman, going around watching yourself, that's how you move on the map. If you move left as the camera's looking at you, on the map, you'll actually move the opposite way. More fantastic games: Ice Climber, Kid Icarus, Kirby Adventure. It's a fantastic game. All the Mega Man games. I've only got the first 4, but they're great games. And then it's a kind of rare one to have in my collection. The Tengen version of Pac-Man. Or Tengen, I don't know how you pronounce it. I've heard many different pronunciations of that. Plenty of good NES games left. But further down is my Super Nintendo collection, which is what my pride and joy is, my Super Nintendo collection. Now I've got a Retron 5, so I do actually use the Japanese Super Famicom games on it. Games like Super Bomberman 5. I've got quite a few Bomberman games that are actually Famicom. But there's some really good games for this console. Castlevania 4. Lovely game. And then Chaos Engine. It's a nice game to have in any collection. Also, cool games like Cool World. It's quite hard to get hold of Cool World. So if you get the American copy, it's a lot cheaper than the PAL version. All the Donkey Kong Country games. I love Donkey Kong Country. They are probably the best games released on the console. They're beautiful and they play so well. Now, anyone who's watched any of my older videos will notice that I am a big fan of the Final Fight series. I've got quite a few of the Final Fight games now. Been buying them up from Japan. Fantastic, lovely games. And then this game, that's a massive game for any collection. The Firemen. It's a game that you need to own. It's a game you need to play. It plays like the game Zombies. Remember Zombies Ate My Neighbours? It plays like that, but you play as a couple of firemen who've got to go into a burning building and a lot of shit goes down. Yeah, here's a bunch of games from Japan, which if you've got the ability to play games from Japan, pick them up. They're called SD, The Great Battle. I've got 1, 2, 3 and 4, and they're all amazing games. They're actually kind of cheap, but you will pay upwards of £20 for 3, 4 and 5. And then this game here, Hamelin No Violin. which just search on the internet for that game. You'll fall in love and you'll want to own it straight away. I've got so many good games on this console. I've been trying my hardest. Pro Protector, which the Americans know that as Super Contra. It's a good game. Our version's it's got robots in and no humans. No. Phantom 2047. That game's awesome. If you like side scrollers, pick it up. Probably the last game I'll show you here is this. If you like games like R-Type, Parodius and games like that, this game, it's called Macross Scramble Valkyrie. It's a Japanese game. It is solid as hell. Absolutely nasty hard. But it's a good game for any collection. So I'd suggest picking that game up and giving it a good go. As you can see, I've got another row of Super Nintendo games, which are there's just so many of them. I've got about 200 now. The Super Advantage, which you got the box up for up there. It's a lovely controller. If you've got any games like Street Fighter, anything like that, that's the controller to have for them. Now, I only have a couple of Switch games. I haven't had the time to play in it because I literally just bought Breath of the Wild. And I think Breath of the Wild is one of the absolute best games ever made. Moving along now this is one of my favourite things to collect for. I think the Wii U is a massively underrated console. People have said a lot of bad things about the Wii U. It didn't sell very well, blah, 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 but I don't give a shit. It's a fucking great console. Some of the best games to get for it are the games that are more obscure. Games like Shovel Knight. I know Shovel Knight came out on all platforms. On the Wii U, you can actually use the Shovel Knight amiibo to open up the second player, which makes the game so much better. And then you got these weird collection games, like the SteamWorld collection. Now these, mine's still sealed. I just haven't had the time to play the game, so I haven't even opened it up. But these games are going to be so hard to find in the future because the Wii U didn't sell many copies as it is, and games like this just didn't sell. So in the future, when everyone wants these, they're going to aim for that. And the same can be said for that Fast Racing Neo. Now, I don't actually know if it's a good game or not. I really don't. But it's going to be worth something in the future. And as a collector, my aim is to hopefully get a collection that's worth some good stuff. I've got most of the games that are worth owning on it. Game & Wario, Pokémon Tournament, Mario Maker. I enjoyed Mario Maker. That was a fantastic game. I don't actually enjoy the Monster Hunter on this. I think it's really lazily built. I played a couple of minutes of it and I was really uninterested. Of course, Xenoblade Chronicles, mine's still sealed, but I've actually got a second copy of it in the box up there. Splatoon, Bayonetta. Them Bayonetta games are well worth owning. Star Fox Guards. Now that came as a second game in the big box for Star Fox. It's a pretty good game. If you've got a chance, pick it up and give it a play. And then you got a whole bunch of games. The Mario Bros. U game is a great game. Captain Toad, that's so underrated. You'd love it. Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, it's as good as Donkey Kong Country Returns. If you don't have a Wii U, I'd say pick it up on the Switch because they've brought it out on the Switch. It'll entertain you so much. It's a really good game. And then games like Arkham City. That's a fantastic copy of Arkham City. It's better. It's arguably better on the Wii U than it is on any other console. I know the graphics are a little bit taken down, but the controller just adds so much to the game. And then obviously Mario Kart 8. That game is the best Mario Kart that was ever made, easily. And one of my favourite Mario games of all time, Mario 3D World. If you got it, you'll know exactly what I mean. It's absolutely beautiful. Going down from there is all the boxes from my Sega Mega Drive and Master System games. Now I don't have as many boxes as I do games, but obviously there's a lot of good stuff in there. A lot of good stuff. These are the actual cartridges for the Mega Drive, which there's some really good stuff in there. Like this. This is one of the best games on the Mega Drive, which wasn't, I don't think it was released in our country. It's called Atomic Robo Kid. Now, I've done a video on this. It's absolutely brilliant. It's not even an expensive game, so if you can find it, pick it up. Now, there's a bunch of really good Mega Drive games, which I've got quite a few good games. Ranger X, for example. It's a stunning game. It's quite pricey now as well. It's like a 16-bit version of Blaster Master, so it's really worth picking it up. And then you got the Sonic the Hedgehog games, Sonic 1, 2, 3, and then Sonic and Knuckles, which was the original concept of what DLC was, if you think about it. You stick Sonic 3 or Sonic 2 in there and you get added on content for the games. Now, I don't know what's been going on. I think Sonic the Hedgehog's been struggling with us keeping his speed up to date, so I think he's been chowing down on the Red Bulls. He's got crazy eyes. Ugh. But yeah, there's some weird ass Sonic the Hedgehog figures. Moving up from there is the Nintendo 64. Now, I've got quite a few Nintendo 64 games. There's not seemingly that many Nintendo 64 games to get. I've got all the best ones to own. Obviously, if you've got Nintendo 64, Mario Kart, you need to pick Mario Kart up because it's a fucking good version of the game. It still today plays really well. And then these two games, Super Mario 64 and Lilac Wars, which the Americans know as Star Fox 64. It's a fantastic game. It's kept its age well. And then obviously two of the best Zelda games ever made, the Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask. Lovely games. Okay then, this end shelving unit here, I've got my box, me NTSC Super Nintendo, my Sega Saturn, the core graphics and the turbo graphics. They're fantastic consoles. And that cool Polywhirl Game Boy carry case. Moving further down, now I'm a big lover of Nintendo Game Boys. Nintendo handhelds is just what I love. So here I've got my Game Boy Advances. Now I'm only missing the box for one of them. It's the black one. I want to get a hold of that. And then my Game Boy Advance SPs, which are fantastic consoles. Now I've got the Zelda one with the box. I've got the pink one boxed. I've got a AGS 101, which is the one with the better backlit screen on it. It's a lovely console. I didn't pay any money for that, someone gave me that for free. And this Mario one, I paid 50p for that in a car boot sale, which is fantastic. I asked the girl how much and she went, oh, 50p. I couldn't get that 50p out of my hand fast enough to give it to her. The next shelves down, the 3DS and the DS. Now, I've got a couple boxes for these. I pretty much love this generation of consoles. The Pokemon games on it were fantastic. I've got the Zelda copies of the 3DS. I don't have the new 3DS version of Zelda, but I'm aiming for that. And the Pokemon Ruby Red 2DS. Going further down is the Game Boy Color. Now, the Game Boy Color was just, it sold itself to me because it was beautiful. If you look at that, look at them sat there with the boxes behind them. Lovely consoles. Absolutely lovely. And coming down here is the original Nintendo Game Boy. I've got the green and the red one. They're absolutely brilliant colours. And the original brick with the Game Boy Micro, the green. And then the Game Boy Pockets. Got a whole variation of colours of the pockets. Moving down here is like one of the favourite parts of my collection. I love the Game & Watch when I was a kid. I had a mate in school who he had loads of Game & Watch and LCD handheld games. We used to always play them. So collecting these has been, it's actually been one of my favourite things to buy for my collection. And I've tried my hardest to buy them as cheap as I can. But, you know, obviously they're not cheap. Now the top is the single screen, widescreen versions with a couple of the keychains. And then if you go further down is the dual screen ones, and you'll notice my Zelda one in the corner. Now this Zelda one, the box and the Zelda console are almost brand new. Like, the condition of it is stunning. You'll notice it's still got the protective film over the outer case, and then inside it doesn't even look like anyone's ever played it. It's absolutely beautiful. The clasp itself is in perfect condition, and it's still got the battery cover. But I love the Game & Watch. I love the whole Game & Watch collection. I'm trying to buy as many as I can. At the very bottom of the unit is basically just a mumbo jumbo of all kinds of stuff. They're the Boglins I had when I was a kid. I love Boglins. They're absolutely, they're brilliant. I'd like to get more of them because there were smaller ones made. And then I'm a massive fan of horror movies and Hellraiser because it was made by a Scouse fella. So I've got loads of Hellraiser boxes. This thing here is so hard to find. It's so rare. There was only about, I think it was 500 of them made, and they were never sold in the UK. So for me to find one in a car boot sale for a £5 was absolutely brilliant. Okay. On this shelf here, I've got the boxes for me NES and me SNES games, some 64. Now some of the worthwhile games there are Mario Kart, Smash Brothers. Then at the end you've got Earthworm Jim, Doom, Mario World 1 and 2, Mario All-Stars, Zombies, Phantom. And then moving on up there you've got boxes for like Super Bomberman, Beat the Man, the Donkey Kong Country games. And then boxes for Mega Man 2, Super Mario Brothers 1 and 2 on the NES, and Ice Climber. Going up from there is me Atari 2600 shelves. I've got a whole bunch of Atari 2600 games. Now there isn't anything of actual major quality in there. It's just games like Mario Bros, Donkey Kong, and then E.T., which is a very famous game for the Atari 2600. I've got the Atari 2600 Junior, and above that is the Atari 2600 Vader, which is a lovely console. Going up from there is just an Atari logo I made myself because, well, I wanted one for my shelf. And then a couple of Pac-Man figures. Going further up we have the PC Engine, the core graphics with its lovely controller, and a Turbo Graphics. They're both made by NEC. They're great consoles. Higher up from there is the Atari Jaguar with Doom. My favourite version of Doom. People often bitch about that version. Oh, there's no music in this version. But I think that it actually adds to the game. I think that the 32-bit sound chip that's in that console actually helps the game. It makes it sound more evil. Also, fantastic game here is Tempest 2000. It's an absolutely lovely game. The Jaguar was a great console. It's hard to find the games for them these days. You don't just find them in normal shops. Going up from there is just a couple of Zelda games that I've got. The boxes for now. They're boxes in great condition. That's Majora's Mask and A Link to the Past. Lovely games, lovely boxes. And then the big box for Lilac Wars, the big box for Mario Inc, and this Japanese version of Yoshi's story for the Nintendo 64. On the very top here we've got the box for me Millennium Falcon, which I bought in a car booty. My big box for me Zelda Breath of the Wild, and then now we're going into my Zelda collection. You got these big figures here, which I've been collecting. Now this was a present off my mother, this one year for Christmas. It's really cool. And then me box for me Wii U, me Zelda Special Edition Wii U. I love that box. I love the console. It's absolutely stunning. An ocarina at the top, and then some more Zelda stuff to go with. Coming down here, there's all the player guides, which some of them are the leather bound ones. Most of them are still sealed. So, well, I don't really use the. I've got this Twilight Princess Link. I love that. My girlfriend bought that for me. I'd love to take him out the box and display him, but to be honest, I want to leave him in there. And then my special edition Wind Waker GameCube. I paid £20 for that with the game intact. It's a fantastic buy. It's a fantastic buy. Moving down here, we've got some action figures and some gotcha ball people. Now these are all the World of Nintendo at the back, which they are pretty cool little figures. And then these came out of those gotcha balls that you buy. You don't know what you're actually getting. I was quite lucky when I bought this collection. I actually got every single one of them without actually buying a double. That's not even a joke. I managed to do that. It was fantastic. I bought these ones at a car boot sale for it was like £5 for the whole collection, which is actually pretty good to get. And this thing here is a marble Navi that I made myself in work about 10-15 years ago. I've also got more amiibo. These are my Zelda ones. Now I said before that I only collected certain ones from the original collection. I bought all the Zelda ones because I wanted them, especially Ganondorf. Look at him, he's awesome. And I've got this Wolf Link with Midna, and then this really cool little nightlight which sits there and just gives an ambiance. Below this I've got me Xbox 360 and Xbox original collection. I love the original Xbox. It was one of the best consoles ever made. The fact that I had the onboard hard drive, it made gaming so much different. And the fact that you could download new maps for the Halo games, and half the maps you didn't even have to pay for. It was absolutely fantastic. The Halo games are a must-own for the original Xbox. Same with Star Wars Battlefront. They're better on the Xbox than they were on the PlayStation 2. Also games like Roller Coaster Tycoon. That's my favourite game of all time. All time. Fucking love that game. And then the Grand Theft Auto games, they play better on the Xbox than any other console. Moving along is my PSP collection. Now I've got the eggshell white PSP, which I bought this from Japan when the first day it came out. And these are really, really rare, these ones. They're hard to find, boxed. It comes in a box which is actually a white PSP. The eggshell white PSP itself is what's inside it. And then a bunch of PSP games, which, to be fair, there was some good games made on it. Patapon, Loco Roco, they're all fantastic games. Okay, moving along to the very, very last shelf. At the very bottom of here, Pokemon stuff. Now I'm a big fan of Pokemon. I love the Pokemon games. Now I've got loads of these old Hasbro Beanie Babies, and he's one of the rarest ones that you can get. Butterfree. He's really cool. I only paid like 50p for him in a car boot sale. He's an absolute bargain. Like there's these still bagged Burger King. Okay. These are all pretty cool to have, and to have them still bagged, you know, I'm pretty sure that must keep some fucking love for them. I've got a couple of really cool things. This old watch, which is actually came out like in 1997 when the cartoon first started, and then the Monopoly. I haven't actually opened that. I want to open that and give it a play, but it's opening it. Moving up onto this next shelf, I've got the original Pokédex, a couple of boxes for my Game Boy games, and then all the DS games, which is most of the DS and 3DS games that came out. I've got Pokemon Sun at the back with the Steelbook, and then Pokemon Stadium, which I bought that in a charity shop for about £10. It was complete in the box. It's actually brand spanking new. Really good buy. Having these Pokemon Heart Gold and Soul Silvers in the boxes is really cool. And a Poké Walker. Unfortunately, I'm missing the Poké Walker for the Heart Gold, but it is what it is. And then Pokemon Snap, I got that in the card boot sale as well. I paid like £7 for that. It's a fantastic little buy. Cause it was picking up some good price. And these little figures here, these are awesome. Look at Misty, she stood there going, "I want my bicycle back, you bastard!" And now she stood there going, That's my Pokemon stuff anyway. Moving on up from there, I've got the last of my Zelda collection, which got a box here for the Adventures of Link, Zelda 2. And this Ganondorf figure, which actually comes in this big Wind Waker box. And then obviously more big boxes for me Wii U games. A whole bunch of Wii U games which are all Zelda games. More Zelda games on the Wii, and then all of the GameCube games, including this very special one. Which I bought this in a car boot sale. This is now it's the normal version with special edition, but this box here, this sleeve is worth an absolute fortune. The sleeve was given away if you pre-ordered the game from a certain shop here in England. It was either HMV or Game, I can't actually remember, but I found this in the car booty and I paid like, it was like £2 for it. This sleeve alone is priceless. And of course, now the second best Zelda game ever made, because Breath of the Wild is easily the best, but Twilight Princess for the GameCube is absolutely brilliant. Lovely game. Moving up from there is the handhelds. Now, Ocarina of Time on the 3DS was a really good port of the game, really good. Link Between Worlds was a fantastic game. I really enjoyed that. And then all the Game Boy Advance and original Game Boy and Game Boy Color games were awesome. Minish Cap was great. The Seasons games were both amazing. And then Link's Awakening, that is, it's one of the best Zelda games you can get. It's absolutely stunning. And then you get the NES Classics, which I loved collecting these NES Classics. And then this Wii U controller. I love this thing. On the top shelf here, you've got the final part of my collection. I've got an ocarina, a proper playable ocarina. The statue that came with Breath of the Wild limited edition, and then a couple of plush toys. This crazy little guy who looks like he's got a dildo loving suit on, and Tingle. Go away, Tingle! No one likes you. And Zelda Monopoly, and then this really cool giant statue of Link, which I really want to take him out of his box and stand him there holding a sword and a shield, but again, I don't know if I should do that. And then the last but not least, going back to behind me door, I've got a couple of still box toys at the top. The Gorilla Alien, who's quite hard to find, an ECW original toy, which they're hard to find as well. Andre the Giant box, these one of the hardest WWF figures to buy, the Hasbro ones. And then at the end, Captain Jean-Luc Picard. All good things. Coming down here, got this lovely picture from Zelda, which I really want to display it somewhere more prominent. I'd like to put it on top of my TV, to be honest. And then I've got my Wreck-It Ralph skateboard. And the last but not least, if you watched any of my videos recently, you saw me Christmas pickups. This was a present off a friend. Anyway guys, I'm Gazz Cavalera. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe and share, and keep watching because you're seeing more pickups videos. I'll get more stuff to add to this collection. See you next time.